Play ball.
Lily, was that good?
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. So, welcome back to the
Nice.
Slide Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Coach Aaron, and tonight my co-host is Miss Captain Clutch, Lily Scott. How are you doing, ma'am?
Good.
Awesome. Well, you got to tell us more than good because you're like online superstar. So everybody wants to know like what you got going on. Are you still actively training right now?
Yeah, I've been pitching with Crazy Paisleys lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What you working on these days?
More speed and more spin.
More speed and spin. All right. Well, I think our guest today might be able to help give us some tips and pointers on that one. So, what else? How's the merch? You got any new shirts coming out or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to sneak peek and surprise us with? Nope. That's all right. Hold it in. Hold it in.
I'm gonna
That's
make a new reel. I could say that, but I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna hit.
there. Oh, okay. So we're gonna have a new target. All right. Those are my favorite reels. So you got to work hard to top the blowing out the candle. I'm still going to talk about that one. That
one wasn't really too hard. I just focused on my spin and looking high because I didn't want to hit the candle because we had like no more. So I was just focusing high because I was like, I have no more candles. So I was just focusing high. I was like,
now, is that because you had already broken some candles or that was like, oh, so that was like your first attempt?
we were gonna make a reel and my coach was there and we didn't have time to like go get more, so we just had one candle and I was like, so that one took 3 tries.
Well, I still that one's still my favorite. So, for right now, yeah. I mean, that's the one that.
Favorite.
Which one?
The bat one where I hit 4 bats in a row.
You know what? I don't know if I've seen that one.
I'm gonna have seen that one.
I'm gonna have to go back and look. You put out so many good things. Listen, I've been so swamped with banana ball lately. It's we're getting very close to our youth banana ball tournament, and you know what? Next year you need to come play because we've got some softball girls playing this year, and I have a feeling they're gonna pitch in a softball motion with a baseball size ball, of course. But yeah, we're getting close. We've got 64 teams coming to Savannah, right at 800 players, and we're all going to be playing banana ball. And we're going to have so much fun. Get this though, Lily. So the stadium that the Bananas play in obviously is in Savannah. All of the championship games, so the final 2 teams in each age bracket, they're going to play their championship games at Grayson Stadium, like on the big field. So to me, that's pretty freaking cool. What do you think?
I think that's pretty cool too.
Good. Well, I'm glad you agreed with me. There we go. So awesome. Well, nothing new else from me. Rachel Garcia wished she could join us today, but she is hanging out with Team USA, and so they've got her out on the field right now working. So she wasn't able to join us tonight. But anyway, all right, well, let's get to our guest. So joining us from a random airport on the East Coast, from Powerhouse Mechanics, Jason Luli. Nope. Luli. There we go. I'm sorry. My tongue. Yeah, my tongue don't want to work right with that. But
Yeah, no, it's all
anyway,
good.
Jason, man, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for inviting me on, actually.
Yeah.
So pretty excited.
Well, obviously you have a huge following, and you do some amazing things with youth athletes and pitchers. And so we just started really this season. Well, last season we introduced softball to the show. And so me personally, I need, like, Lily is teaching me so much about the game of softball because my roots are in the baseball game.
Right.
And so Lily and all of our softball field reporters, they're giving me the rundown of how difficult softball is. And so I'm learning, man, and I'm going to learn from you today. So start everybody off, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, anything you would like to share with us. And then at the end of it, we'd like to know what your favorite cereal is.
All right. Well, let me say this. For But the lack of experience you have in softball is the same experience I had in podcasting. So, uh, yeah, if I talk in circles, just
It's okay.
let me know. So,
Yep.
yeah, so my name's, I just go by Jason, Coach Jason, whatever people want to call me. So basically, I am the head coach of Powerhouse Mechanics, which we are a nationwide training program, specifically for pitchers right now, softball pitchers
Hmm.
right now. Um, so, we have several programs throughout the country. And so, we're a little bit different and could like than a lot of the other certification kind of programs. Our program actually has a lot of hands-on with all the athletes within our program.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so, we may have kids like in Texas or New York or Minnesota, um, but they primarily work with that local coach. But then either myself or one of our other national head coaches come in once a month, and we work with all of the athletes at a local level. Sometimes it's small groups, sometimes it's 2-on-1, sometimes it's 1-on-1. We'll go in once a month, and we're recalibrating, reprogramming all of our athletes. Um, working with them in small groups, just trying to you know, s- try to stay involved with them as much as possible. So,
Awesome.
we really believe that like uh, the more people involved in the process, uh, you just kind of get a better product, a better athlete out of it.
Hmm.
We just kind of feel that the issue with the traditional one-on-one and the one-on-one coach only is that they only learn how to take information in one way, and one style. So by us being able to introduce them to a bunch of different communication styles, teaching styles, but still trying to stay on the same philosophy,
Hmm.
and the same curriculum, I think it just helps them out in the long run, being able to be more coachable, um,
100%.
as they get older. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, leave us with your favorite cereal there.
So, my favorite cereal. Oh man. Okay. So it depends. Is it midnight or is it in the morning? Because those are two different things.
What's your go-to?
My go-to is Captain Crunch, no berries. I do not like the berries, but I have to have it with ice cold whole milk. I mean, half and half.
Okay.
So
Not
that's
bad.
my midnight snack is a bowl of Captain Crunch and half and half.
There you
It's
go. I love
Yeah,
some Captain Crunch. You can't go wrong with Captain Crunch.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Lily, you okay with Captain Crunch?
I don't like that.
It's okay.
That's just my opinion. Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, that's okay. Well, I'm a Fruity Pebbles guy, but I can
Yeah.
definitely get, especially Captain Crunch with the peanut butter. That's
I
Mm.
some
only
good
like
stuff.
Fruity Pebbles if they're in vanilla ice
If they're
cream.
what?
And vanilla ice cream. Like I
Ooh,
put vanilla ice cream in a bowl and I dump Fruity Pebbles in there. It's
that's a
actually
good
good.
idea.
It's not bad.
That sounds good. That sounds
Yep.
good.
Yeah, but
I
you
like
could
it.
do the same thing with Cocoa Pebbles, which is also pretty good.
Ooh, look, I'm learning some stuff today. I'm gonna
I'm
have
telling
to.
you, try it. Cocoa Pebbles and half and half. It's got to be midnight though, because it's got to be one of those things where it's like it's so heavy it just puts you to sleep.
There you go, dude. I would be lying if I said I didn't take those midnight snacks. So
Yeah,
I will add that to the repertoire there. So, well,
yeah,
cool, man. Well, Jason, how'd you get into pitching, man? What's your background?
yeah. So actually, I started pitching when I was, oh God, 19. I'm now 47. Just kind of by accident a little bit, but also, I grew up in a very strong softball family.
Mm-hmm.
All being in Southern California. So it wasn't like I didn't know what it was. I just, I got introduced to a rec men's league through a friend. Um, and it was just one of those things to where, I think you would understand how adult sports go. They're just always short players. And
That's right.
just happened to be one of those times like, hey, you mind playing right field? And I was like, sure, I'll do it. And the couple of games later, the pitcher quit. He was pretty good. Um, and not because of anything. It was just more of a distance thing. He was traveling far away to come
Yeah.
play. So the team had no choice to either like drop out or somebody had to step
Take
up.
his
And so
spot.
they
Yeah.
pitch. But and I'll never forget that, like, we're having this meeting. I don't really know anybody. I'm just kind of standing on outside of the circle. And I always say, have you ever just like said something in your head, but you didn't know it came out of your mouth? So in my head, I thought I said, I think that looks pretty easy. I think I can do that. But that came out, and I know it came out because then everybody turned around and looked at me and was like, "Oh, you can do that?" And then I was like, "Oh, did I say that out loud?" No. But yeah. So then I
Now we're
kind
talking
of
fast pitch at this point, right?
fast pitch softball. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes. And so, so I started playing in this league, and I just kind of naturally threw hard from the beginning. I mean, it went everywhere, but I threw fairly hard. Um, but I think a lot of it is because men's fast pitch at the time was dying a little bit. There was
Hmm.
not a lot of American-born pitchers anymore. Like all the top-end pitchers were all being flown in and imported in to play our seasons.
Oh wow.
So for me being 19, they were like, "Hey, like, you want to play in this tournament?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll go play in this tournament." And you know, everybody just kind of everywhere. It's just you just through life, you just kind of meet certain people, the right people at the right time, and
That's right.
and so there just happened to be at this one of these tournaments a gentleman who played at the ISC level, and they automatically thought I was imported the Kiwi New Zealander pitcher just because of obviously my Samoan background. They just and then they're all, "Oh no, this dude's from San Diego." Right. And so that gentleman took a lot of interest in honing in my skills because he's a huge fan of men's fast pitch. He was a huge fan of American pitchers because so he honestly he took me under under his wing. He funded a lot of the training. Like he would say, "Hey, what are you doing Wednesday?" "Well, I'm going to send you to Skagit County, Washington, where they have a men's league there, and they agreed to let you pitch a doubleheader." And I just flew out there, and then I just came back the next morning. So he
Wow.
really was a pivotal person in making sure that I was developing. Um, and like I said, right place, right time sometimes. And uh, like next thing you know, some reporter took a picture of me pitching because again, at this time I'm like 20 years old and 21 years old playing at some level, and they just like, "Oh, he's an American," So they took a lot of interest in that, and so, but
Gotcha.
yeah, that's just kind of how it started. And next thing you know, it's 20 years later.
Yeah.
So
Well, you and I are the exact same age, so I don't normally meet too many people on this show that's near my age. Everybody always makes fun of me because they call me old. But
yeah,
I was just introduced, I would say, probably 2 years ago to men's fast pitch softball.
yeah,
I honestly, I live in South Carolina, so I didn't. I guess I'd just been under a rock, but I didn't even know that there was such a thing, and I think it's cool. So.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty big, and I'll say this: fast pitch softball is pretty much like a small town thing. Like
Mhm.
like you go to the Midwest and all these small towns, every small town had a team, and they were good. And this small town played this small town. I think that's kind of like how it was survived so long, or and made its way um so long. But it's also a very generational sport.
Okay.
Um Meaning like if you play, most likely your dad played or and your grandpa played and your brothers played. And it was like I
Right.
said, and at some point all of you played on the same team. But just with life and typically youth sports, like we just don't have time anymore to do anything.
That's right.
So
That's
it's just I just think adult sports just at the end are just declining. So
yeah. I agree. I mean, look at MLB. I feel like MLB is something like they've got to do something to continue to grow the game. And
mhm.
so anyway, I think softball is so much more entertaining anyway. And before I let Lily jump into her questions, how far? What's the pitch distance for men's fast pitch softball?
It is 46 feet.
46 feet. Okay, gotcha.
Correct. I mean, that's where you start. Who knows where you let go of the balls?
Dude,
you
you
know.
guys like run and like sling that thing. Woo wee.
Yeah.
That's some heat coming in.
No,
So,
no, it is.
all
So,
right, Lily, I'm gonna let you run with it. What you
What's
got?
the hardest pitch to teach and what's the hardest pitch to throw?
oh, that's a good one. Um, I would say the hardest pitch to teach is our changeup. And so I know Lily should know, Powerhouse Mechanics teaches a very specific theory or philosophy behind changeups. And so it's really not about a grip or anything like that. It's really about, several things of how we control energy through our arm and how we hold weight in certain places. So trying to teach that aspect is pretty hard. But because we do that first, all the other pitches become a lot easier to learn, like rise ball. So I think like the easiest pitch to teach would be a rise ball. But you said, what is the easiest pitch to throw? God, see, I don't know. See, I think also the easiest pitch to throw is a change. It's the hardest to learn, but I also think it's the easiest once you get it down to throw.
So what are you that's a different take on just how you guys are training that. Like what
Mhm.
explain a little bit about that.
Okay, so powerhouse mechanics, we are very different in the way we explain motion. We have a couple philosophies that we train under. So one of them is what we call the 30-70. And how we explain that is like 30% of what we're doing is intentional, the things that we do on purpose. And then the other 70% is going to be reactionary. They're going to be um, created for us. So all we have to really do is help them out once they get created.
Okay.
Um, so that's kind of one of them. And then the other part is just we just have a strong understanding of weight. Like where is your weight when you're moving? You're moving weight from point A to point B. So for an example, when we talk to kids about our arm circles or windmills, um, and if you go on our social media, I get it. Like nobody understands what I'm talking about, but I always make the statement of like, you're not circling your arm, right? And obviously, visually, you're circling your arm, but what we're technically doing is we're learning how to move weight from our shoulder to our elbow to our hand, right? And to do that in
Okay.
a fluid way, it's got to be like your shoulders taking that weight and bringing it back to the elbow. And then from that point, the elbow is bringing it to the hand. And so what happens is if you start to try to create motions that you visually see versus trying to teach it as far as the feeling, right? What's going to happen is that's where you get the circle or you get the windmill. And what that happens when you do that, it pulls weight to the hand very early, right? And so
Yes,
that's
I can
kind
see
of
that.
that's kind of what I mean. So I think because we have a strong understanding of the controlling of weight and how we're moving weight from certain parts of our body to another part, our kids just all have pretty good changeups, because
Okay.
it's not about a spin, it's not about a grip, it's not about any of those things. It's just, like I said, it's really about how are we learning how to control energy from our shoulder to our hand, and when is it going to get there?
I like that. Is that
Yeah.
new for you, Lily? Just that explanation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
it?
generally we just we just tell the coaches that that'd be a little too much for that's a little too much for the kids to
Yeah.
try to take in, but as they get older, they learn they learn it in a very generic way. But as they get older, we get very specific about even like what parts of when you're coming down, you're not bringing weight through your whole hand. You're actually driving weight through the pinky and ring finger as you come down into this portion, right? So
Okay.
we get very specific about where we're moving that energy to, because you have that energy has to be in specific parts of your body in order for your body to move it.
Well, I mean, so is there? It seems like the way you just explained it, and obviously I'm learning, but it
Mhm.
seems like that's. It sounds like that helps take care of your arm and your shoulder a little bit
It
better.
does a lot.
Okay. Okay.
That's why we have very little injury in our program. Just because we just believe that like the body will naturally find its the safest and more efficient way and route to execute something. That's like kind of like our body's job, our mind's job to do, and
Hmm.
a protection aspect. You know what I mean? So we kind of allow it to do that. You know.
Gotcha.
So
I mean, it definitely makes sense in how you're explaining it because just in a windmill, I could see where the the pressure, the power comes to the hand
mhm,
versus focus and mind where the where the energy and motion is
right.
coming. So
So I kind of give the example a lot of like if I was pedaling a bicycle, right? If you see me on a bicycle and I'm pedaling around, you would look at my feet and you'd be like, oh yeah, he's making circles,
hmm
right? But then if you ask me on the bike, well, what is it that I feel? And I would say, well, I just feel lines.
yep,
So with
up and
that being
down.
said, am I going to teach an athlete to make a circle or should I teach that athlete to make the lines? You know what I mean? So
Makes
that's kind of
sense.
like where we're going with that there.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, as you do, you guys at Powerhouse Mechanics, are you focused on certain age ranges or?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, like I said, being at the right place at the right time, I've been introduced to a lot of really, really special, talented athletes. Um, who it's funny enough, sometimes I don't even realize how many followers we have. I don't do our social media, to be honest, like so I don't really pay attention to it. So I don't realize sometimes how many people follow us or how many people know that we're doing or
hmm
how many people know what we're doing. So, I met a lot of, like I said, very special athletes who have watched and followed us, and now they reach out. They'll send me videos and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" Or "Hey,
Right.
do you think I'm being efficient here, being efficient there?" Um, but yeah, so all the way, I would now can say Olympic pitchers all the way down to Lily's age.
Awesome. That's
So
very
yeah.
cool. I
Mhm.
mean, because I feel like, definitely having the youth involved that teaches, athletes the right way of doing things throughout their career. So, I mean, and obviously the youth sports environment is so like competitive these days. Like, I can definitely understand it.
Oh, yeah,
So,
it's very, very competitive. And
yeah.
first, I want to say this for your listeners,
Yeah.
as competitive as it is for the athletes, it is probably more competitive for the parents.
Oh,
So,
yes.
and I don't think that's necessarily bad. I just think I know as a parent that sometimes it's hard to like detach myself from my kid, but
hmm
that especially when you're a competitive person who's played sports, it's hard to like just sit quiet. So parents, I feel you. I get it. Don't be embarrassed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, I have a 10-year-old son myself, and sometimes it's hard. It's hard. So,
Mhm.
Lily, are your parents the kind that sit quietly, or are they loud and cheering?
Um, well,
I know
they
your
just
dad, so don't lie.
they cheer me on, except my mom is mostly just getting me snacks when I'm done with my at bat,
Yeah.
and my dad is just cheering me on in the dugout.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't sound like they're doing any of the crazy stuff that I've seen out there. So
Yeah.
there's some level of craziness that I have seen. So, Lily, what else you got, ma'am?
What made you want to start Powerhouse Mechanics?
Oh man. What's funny is like I didn't think about starting Powerhouse Mechanics. I didn't have a plan to start Powerhouse Mechanics. I just think it's a lot of things that we do in life, that we do on the field, that we do just in general is like when there's a problem or an issue, you have to learn how to adapt and take advantage of the issue or learn to figure out different ways to keep going. And so um, I just had a huge amount of people that wanted to train with me. And obviously, we all know that there's only a certain amount of hours in the day.
Right.
And so I didn't like the feeling of being able to telling people no all the time. And because of that, I also didn't like the feeling of like prioritizing certain athletes over the other. Does that make sense? Like I think that was
Mm-hmm.
the biggest part I didn't like because I always felt like you should be able to help everybody at some capacity, right? But when you get to a certain point, you also have to understand like the level of coaching has to also match the level of athletic ability, or else the level of coaching is not going to is going to be wasted. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
And so then I started prioritizing, higher end athletes, and I was like, there's got to be a way to like, you know, help. everybody or help the most people that I can. Um,
Hmm.
and so, uh, one day it was, I had a kid that came down from Vegas, and they would fly from down from Vegas like every other week, and they would train with me for a couple hours, and then they would leave. But I remember she asked me one day during a break, she said, "Coach Jason, is this your dream job?" At this time, I'm just a private coach, and I said, "No." I said, honestly, no, it's not. And I kind of bothered by my answer, and because she said, "Well, then why do you do it?" And I literally
Wow.
couldn't verbalize at that moment um, why I was doing it. Like, why was I taking time away from my own kids, and
Hmm.
teaching other people's kids and not my own kids, and so like it kind of bothered me for a little bit, and then I realized that like, and I'll say this, I think that's when I realized the difference between people's passion and people's callings, right? And like,
There you
if
go.
you were to ask me what my passion is, my passion would probably be more on a food standpoint. Like I love cooking. Like I would love to have like a food Instagram page. I'd love, you know what I mean? But I
Hmm.
understand that my calling is what you're supposed to do for others, right?
That's right.
And so I felt like I knew, like, and then once I understood it that way, then I said, now I really have to help. If this is what my calling is, then I have to really help as many people as I can. And so I kind of got the idea of like, if I can just train a coach, you know what I mean, to
Hmm.
to kind of implement whatever I tell them to work on. Because if you really think about like what does a private coach really do and makes and good at, it's just diagnosing and prescribing. So
Right.
if I could diagnose and prescribe an athlete, then why can't I just give that prescription to somebody else to fulfill? And so that's how it started. I just started training coaches. I would create the programming. That programming would then go to people like Coach Brooke, or and they would work on whatever it is that I have prescribed for that specific athlete. And so just little by little, I mean, I think we started like 3 years ago. What are we, 3 years, right after COVID. Um, and you know, it's grown exponentially since then.
Yeah.
So, but
No,
yeah, that's how it started. There was no plan. Just there's an issue. How do we fix the issue?
dude, I can totally agree with the whole calling.
Hmm.
I worked retail for 26 years and just wasn't happy. And
Right.
my passion is music. Like if I could own my own music studio and learn all of that stuff, that's my passion. But
Hmm.
my calling is kids and
Right.
really helping kids, understand they have
Hmm.
a voice and their opinions matter. And so I totally get that, man.
Yeah.
One question. So you're in the airport. Where are you flying to?
Actually, I'm flying to Italy, Milan right now.
Wow.
Because a lot of people don't know this, but I was selected as the American Samoa National Team's pitching coach, and so we're off to Italy to do the World Cup.
Wow. Now, for our listeners out there, obviously, most of the time when we hear World Cup, we
Mhm.
associate that with soccer. Um,
Yes.
this isn't soccer you're going to coach,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. Could you imagine? Yeah, could you imagine? Like I'm doing soccer now, so no, it is
Yeah.
no. It's for softball. It's the ISF World Cup. Is it the ISF or the WBC, the World Baseball Softball WBSC
Okay.
World Cup?
Very
Yeah,
cool. And so you got the 15U team, is that correct?
correct.
Awesome. Dude,
Hmm.
have you ever been to Italy before?
I have not been to Italy, and so I'm really excited to
Food?
try the food. And honestly, what I'm really excited about is the level of play that I'm going to see amongst that age group. I mean, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, we see phenomenal athletes, but I'm just so excited to see what other countries, are looking like. Our first game's against Japan, actually on Thursday.
Oh.
So, um,
Now, this is the girls' division.
correct.
Okay, okay. Wow, that'd be interesting because Japan, from a baseball perspective, like they're engineers.
Well,
So
softball as well.
really,
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's I think culturally they're just perfectionists,
Yeah,
and so if you're that, I think their idea is like if you're doing it, do it to the best, and they live
right.
by that. So, yeah.
What a
So I'm excited to
concept,
see
right?
that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. If you're gonna do it, then do it. Don't
Yeah.
don't don't just halfway do
Right.
it. I had to
Right.
had to catch myself right there. There's
Right.
another term I
This is the
would
kids.
normally
This is the
use.
kids
So
show.
that is a kid's show. So just don't
Yeah.
halfway do it. Go all in on it.
Right.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
Lily, ma'am,
What's your biggest advice for a 9-year-old?
My biggest advice for a 9-year-old is don't argue with your parents when it comes to pitching. And I'm being honest because I'll tell you right now, as little as we think that their parents don't know what they're talking about, I'm almost guaranteeing you that they listen to me and the other coaches more than the pitchers are. And so this happens all the time when I get phone calls or texts. They're like, Coach Jason, what did you say about this? Right. And I'm like, I said this. And then the parent's like, that's exactly what I told her. She does not want to believe me. Do you know what I mean? So I'll say this: listen to your parents. They are there. They really are there to try to help you be the best you can be. So because of that, they are listening and learning along with you. And so, and I will say this, and this is why I say listen to them, is because as adults, I think understand adults a little bit better. And as parents and a child will understand a lot better each other as well. So I always try to when I talk and I coach, I'm always including the parents, always. Like when I talk to an athlete, I'm also talking to the parent, right? I don't believe in like parents drop your kid off and go sit off to the side. Like you need to be
be
as
involved.
involved as possible,
That's
And
right.
I'll say this. I will say this. When I look at kids and I try to evaluate like what levels this can a kid play to, the first thing I look at is not even talent. The first thing I look at is parent involvement, right? Did the parent bring a bucket? Did the parent catch? Is the parent asking questions? Is it, you know what I mean? Because it's the
Yeah,
parents that kind of like drive that direction. So listen to them because they're really, really trying to help you out. And I'll tell you right now, the better you guys work together, the faster you're gonna progress.
I like
So
that. That's good advice because
I don't think
I can.
Lily didn't like that advice, did she?
I'm fine with it. I just don't like listening to my sister because I feel like she's always
Okay,
wrong.
Well,
okay,
sisters are
You
different.
said parents,
yeah,
not my sister, so
parents,
I'll
yeah,
be fine.
yeah, hmm
Like
yep,
I know when my son works with a quarterback coach. And so I'm a coach myself. And so I'm constantly trying to, up my game as a coach. And so I'm always listening to coaches, whether it's things I agree with, disagree with, whatever, I'm still allowing it to be input. And we'll get back home and I deal with the same thing. Dude, you're supposed to be doing this. Make sure you set your feet this way, doing this, the launch angle, all those just fun things. And he's like, no, that's not what he said. And I'm like, dude, come on now. I paid attention.
right.
I don't know if you did.
That's the point. Well, and
It
I think
is.
there's a difference between, and this is why I said parent, like why you should listen to your parents because adults understand adults. And I think a lot of the time is that as you become an adult, you don't listen so much to like what somebody's saying. You're trying to understand meaning, right? Like, and I think when you're kids and you're younger, you're listening word for word. And so when you do that, it sometimes gets a little bit confusing, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. So yeah,
100%.
that's why I say that's why it's different when a kid says that's not what he said, and it's like, well, that's kind of what you heard. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And those are two
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah. And context too,
Hmm.
as an adult's talking, sometimes context gets lost in a word,
Right.
and us being able to decipher that for those athletes, I think is important. So,
Hmm.
Lily,
Yeah.
your sister gives you a hard time? She's a pitch. Is she pitching? No, she plays though, right?
She's at Redlands College
Yeah.
and she plays first base. She knows nothing about pitching.
Oh, so she's trying to correct you, and you're like, look,
Yeah,
you stay
because
at
she comes
first.
out there when I'm pitching and she's like, "That's not right," and I'm like, "You don't even know anything." So
Yeah.
No shame. No shame.
She doesn't know anything because she's only a pitcher. No, blah, blah, blah. She's only first base and a hitter. She doesn't know anything about pitching. So I'm like, you don't go to any of my lessons, so you don't know.
Lily,
Mm.
you seem like one of those kids. I bet you pay attention to every word that you're hearing. Do
I
you?
go
a-
to I go
Do
to
you?
Coach Brooke. Like
Yeah. Do you ask a lot of questions as the coach is coaching you? No.
I don't
Okay.
like to ask questions.
Oh, listen, I'm gonna tell you in life, you gotta ask questions. Like if there's one little thing that I could tell, our listeners and everyone out there is ask questions. Because I mean, people say there's no such thing as a stupid question. Now, sometimes if you ask me a question about something that I just talked about, I would consider that a stupid question. But if you're asking me to explain more, Lily, ask away, ask away. So, and I'm sure your coach would agree with me there. So, now, all right. So one thing that I've noticed, Jason,
Mhm.
and that you guys definitely work on at Powerhouse Mechanics is the pitcher's delivery, and more so in, I don't know what you would necessarily call it, the leap.
Yeah. So we,
Now I'm
yeah,
learning here,
we,
so
yeah. So I'll say this. Okay. So, um, I, I always tell everybody the form of pitching, the way we pitch doesn't change because we've discovered better or new ways of changing. Most of the time, that's not the case, right?
right.
The majority of the reasons of why pitching motions change throughout the years and the decades and the ages of playing is because the rules change. And so I tell all of our athletes, I tell all of our coaches is that it is our jobs to figure out how to be the most powerful and efficient according to the rules that are given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we just follow the rule, however it is explained. Right. And so if the rule says you can now intentionally leave the ground, but you cannot push again, creating more distance, then that's what we're going to do. Right. And so it did create a huge, what's the word am I looking for? I'll just say this, a huge firestorm of difference of opinions. And I think that I'll be honest, I think that's one reason why like we grew so fast on social media was because there would be literally 2,000 comments on one post, mainly because you had a bunch of people arguing with each other
Mm-hmm.
about what was legal, what wasn't legal, and so at the end of the day, it worked out. I didn't. Everyone told me that I was taking a risk by teaching this so early, and I was like, well, I'm just going by what the rule is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the rule says now, so that's what we're going to do. And everyone said it's going to change. They're going to call it illegal, and it hasn't because we just follow a rule. The rule hasn't changed. The rule's not going to change. I think maybe that was an unintended result that they didn't think about was going to happen. But you know, if you make a rule, we follow the rule.
Yeah. Well, just for everyone, I got a clip. I'm going to show this clip.
Mhm.
And Lily, this is your friend Miss Campbell, and
Oh,
this will
Taylor
help.
Campbell.
Yeah, this will help everybody understand maybe what we're referring to.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
that's what we're referring to, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, now granted, again, newbie to softball, don't claim anything right, wrong, or indifferent. That looks like you're going to get more speed and more power.
Oh, definitely. There's a ton more power in it. And it's not even just the amount of power that you're using. And I always tell everybody this, it doesn't matter how much energy is being generated if the energy can't be carried.
Right.
Does that make sense? And
Yep. All the way
so
through.
all the way through, right? And so what happens is because of leaping, we one thing on the backtrack a little bit. One thing that we teach a lot in Powerhouse Mechanics is what a phase of pitching that we call the storing phase, right? And so when we say, that is like we have the understanding that if you're not using energy, you're storing energy.
Hmm.
right? And so, you know, because of that, we've kind of reframed the thought process of what we're trying to do off the mound. And when we say that, the a very old way of, or a very the older way of thinking about
Traditional.
pitching was traditional way of thinking was explode off the mound, explode off the mound. And now we don't teach them to explode off the mound. I mean, we teach them to drive, but it's more about the drive and the carry that we focus on. So
Right.
that way you hold energy longer. And so that way we hold that energy till we get to the ground, and then we explode that energy through our release. Because I try to tell everybody you can only explode one time. There's no like multiple explosions to this motion.
Right.
So like the later that we can delay that explosion, the better, right? So I try to equate it to hitting, because everybody agrees in hitting that it's like you don't explode to the ball, you explode through the ball.
Through the ball.
So why do we not have that same concept and say, well, don't explode to your release, explode through your release? So if you
Okay.
go back to that clip, you can see how when Taylor is pitching and she's midair, her body's soaring because it's not
Soaring.
working. Because it's not working. And then she releases all that energy when she gets down to the ground. So, I mean, that's just one of the aspects of why people will throw harder. I know people think like they won't, but that's one reason why they will throw harder. It also puts your body in a very beneficial position. So if you watch when Taylor landed in that video, I would say 90% of her weight was still holding in the backside of her body, versus traditionally when you're a dragger, when you land, you're almost at like 50-50. Like you have half of your weight going forward and the other half of the weight is in the back. So going back to that aspect that we are talking about, how weight and energy live together, right? Like if you can hold all your energy at one point and move it all together, you're going to have a stronger response than split energy and only half of it trying to move.
Yeah. I'm no
So,
physics major, but that makes sense. Now,
mm.
what's the downside? I mean, what's the other side's downside for it? The argument.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone's gonna say this is gonna cause knee damage. It's gonna do this, but the thing is like these what's happening. It's actually safer, and it's actually safer on the knees, because what's happening is you're breaking up the impact to the ground into 2 points versus the impact being on one leg. So when you drag, you're taking all that force from one leg and it's being caught into another, versus this way you're driving and in the air, you're kind of landing once, which is absorbing some of that impact, and then you're landing
Hmm.
again, which is absorbing the rest. So it's actually
Okay.
healthier on the knees. So I would say that what would be the biggest downside to that, um as far as like performance, I will say this, and I'll go back to this. For me, I didn't just put this out there. I didn't leap. I mean, I did leap in the beginning, but I think you have to be a like a specific kind of pitcher for certain things to benefit you. So
Okay.
I was a changeup pitcher. Um, and so leaping didn't benefit my changeup. It benefited my rise. It benefited like my drop ball, but it didn't really benefit my change. And if I was going to be a changeup pitcher, I knew that everything that I had to do had to benefit my changeup, and that was my priority. So
Okay.
because dragging allowed me to get my body into a position quicker, right? Um, and it made my changeup much better. That's just kind of what I stuck with.
Okay.
So I think like, I think it's a lot of energy coming at once. And so it's very hard to try to control that, meaning like try to keep it away from the ball. So I,
Hmm.
I think it's hard to throw changeups with leaps, but I think that would be the only one.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Lily, what else you got?
What do you think is the dumbest rule that they made in 2025 for pitchers?
For pitchers, I don't think I'm for every rule that they've changed for pitchers. I will say I think the dumbest rule is this is not for the pitchers. I think it's just for the game period is the pitch clock.
Mm.
Yeah, I get it. Like we need to keep things moving, but also too sometimes as a pitcher, like you need to collect yourself sometimes. And
Yeah.
I feel like that, I think what happens is you're just adding an element to the pitcher's mindset of saying, oh my God, I got, like now they're feeling rushed. Now they're feeling like they, you know what I mean? They're feeling they have to pitch when they're not ready.
Right.
So
Well, I feel like softball seems so much faster anyway. I mean, it just seems like a faster sport.
yeah, I'll say this. I think there's times to where, specifically for me, where if there was an at bat to where the guy was like foul ball, foul ball, foul ball, and everything I was throwing was a foul ball. Like those would be moments that I would want to take an extra 5 seconds to just kind of collect what I was doing, reframe my mindset, maybe kind of like feel something specific in my body where I kind of like let my shoulders loose, like
Mm-hmm.
lighten up my shoulders, like those kind of things that I don't want to take those extra seconds for. But I feel like now it would be like you just got to go. You got to go, you
Gotcha.
know? So I don't
Lily,
like that, but it's,
you must have a rule in your head that you don't like, Lily. What you tell us what you think the dumbest rule is.
I don't. Well, when I had my old league, I hated all their rules because there was a rule where you had to wear a mask and you couldn't do a lot of things. You couldn't wear a mask. You had to wear a mask, and I hate masks. It's so itchy. Everyone's like, you have to be protected though, and I hate masks. I hate that
Really?
stupid. So I hate that rule. But now that I'm in travel ball, I don't have to wear a mask. So I'm really happy because I'm on Bat Busters now.
There you go.
oh, man, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
get it though.
I mean, I don't know. What I mean, does like half your team wear a mask, or is it just? I mean, does a lot of people wear a mask? Is my question.
Not on travel, but on like the on Ukaipa, all of them wear masks, and all of them are like, "Where's your mask? Why don't you wear a mask?" I'm like, I hate it so bad.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
like, as a pitcher, you need to feel free. You don't want all that extra weight on you.
That's a good
That's a
point.
good point, actually. Yeah, I hate all the extra weight places. So,
Yeah. I did, Jason. I played my first slow pitch softball tournament.
mhm.
And yeah, I don't want, there's a lot of stupid rules in that. Um, the fact that I walk up to bat with already a strike against me, like, I don't know if that's like a nationwide thing or something, but dude, my very first, and I've told this story so everybody can laugh at me again, but so my very first at bat in slow pitch softball, I'm walking up to the plate, right? And, I mean, I've played recreational softball. I swing at the first two pitches because I'm trying to hit it like a baseball. And then I get back in the box and the ump's like, you're out. And I'm like, hold on, dude. I only got two swings or two strikes. And he was like, yeah, but you walk up here with a 1-1 count. And I'm like, all right, now that's messed up right there. So I don't like that rule because it
Mhm.
made me look silly. So anyway, now you guys do a lot of clinics. You got multiple locations, like you said earlier, around the country. How many locations do you have?
Oh God, right now we're at 32.
Holy
Um,
cow!
so yeah, there's two more that we're in the process of sending the coach there and implementing the program.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we're at 32 right now.
Now, are all of those under the Powerhouse Mechanics name, like almost like a franchise?
Yeah, well, we don't franchise. I mean, it's not a franchise. I mean, they're all just independent
Yeah.
coaches that we just kind of work together, but they do represent our brand, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yep.
So you can actually go on to Instagram and just put in Powerhouse Mechanics underscore, and you'll see all of each program has their own, what we call our crew code, which is like a 3-digit number or 3-digit letter that they go by.
Hmm.
Um, you can also go on to Instagram and type in PHM underscore, and all Powerhouse Mechanics coaches will populate. Um, so yeah, we try to make it really easy to be, visible.
Hmm.
So, like I said, all of our coaches have a PHM underscore account, and all of our programs have a Powerhouse Mechanics underscore account.
Gotcha. You got any on the East Coast?
We do. So we got one in Albany, one in Syracuse, one in Newark or Secaucus, actually, to be specific.
Hmm.
Um, we're going to be adding one here sometime in the next few months in what's it called? Binghamton,
Binghamton. Yep.
which is up like central New York. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, like we're open to go wherever, and we really try to focus on areas that just need the coaching. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of kids that need training. There's just not a lot of coaches. So
Yeah.
that's why you'll see us in areas like Utica, New York, and Albany, and um, places like that.
Gotcha.
So
I think I like that. I mean, I know, like, I don't think you might need to get something here in the Carolinas because, like,
I'd love to.
it's freaking crazy. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like, I feel like the biggest challenge to youth sports in general is coaching.
Right.
First of all, having coaches that want to do it, and then coaches who have some knowledge of foundational skills. I mean, you see too many coaches today, and I'm speaking from just my experience, that are more focused on the $3 rings at the end of the event versus teaching the kids the right way to develop. And
Right.
so I think it's cool. I like what you guys are doing there.
I
So,
appreciate that.
yeah. Lily, got any more questions?
How do you feel about everyone UCLA leaving? What do you think about that?
Oh, well, I'm going to keep that opinion to myself. No, here's the thing. I am very, I got a good relationship with that and the staff there at UCLA. But here's the thing that I would say, right? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for the athletes. And once this opportunity is done, it's done. And I believe whatever each athlete feels they need to do to be fulfilled by the time they put that glove down for the last time, then go do that. If it's about softball, make it about softball. It was like you're just using softball as a way, as a vehicle, to get what you want to get done, then do that. But I just feel like you put so much time and effort and sacrifice into this that what do you want to feel like and what do you feel like you would want to have accomplished when you finally put the glove down like that very last time, you know? And so if it means you need to transfer and go in the portal, do it. You want to go chase the money, do it. This is your life. This is your opportunity. You worked hard to create opportunity for yourself and take advantage of the opportunity. So
I think that's a good point there, Lily. Because a lot of softball players, I mean, really are looking at life after softball a lot
mhm.
earlier than the baseball guys are. Now, granted, we have the new AUSL, so hopefully, it continues to grow and these girls find more avenues to continue to play the sport. But yeah, that's a good point, man. It's a lot about life after the game and putting yourself in a best position to be successful. So I know
I
you're
think
upset, Lily. It's okay.
well, I was going to say this, and I said I think a lot of it is, you know, I know you yourself, Coach Aaron, wear many hats, and when I say that, there's times that I think like a parent, and there's times that I think like a coach, and like I think my opinion on this is thinking as a parent. Like if it was my kid, what I want my kid to have the ability to do or want to do,
Right.
you know. So I'll put that part out there.
That's fair. See, Lily, and that is a good point. Like, think about it differently than just from a fan standpoint. Because
Mhm.
I know I get sucked into it too, Lily, and with college football because the transfer portal has changed. Well, it's changed all college sports, but I do get upset, sometimes, but I don't ever look at it from that point of view. So, and then
Mhm.
that can humanize things a little bit more for you. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right, Lily, what else you got?
Nothing else.
Awesome. Okay. I wanted to make sure you get all your questions answered here. So,
yeah.
Oh wait, I do.
okay.
What's the biggest difference between men's softball and girls softball?
Ponytails. We don't have them.
Pitchers'
No.
hairstyles.
Yeah, pictures, hairstyles. You got cheers. You guys get to do a lot of cheers. No, honestly, the game is very different. I would say men's fast pitch is more about power than it is speed. Um, it's very much about you know, just trying to make things happen, if that makes sense, instead of like in men's fast pitch. the ball, it's at the high level, it's very hard to just say like, hey, you just got to go with pitches at that point. And so because of that, it's very hard to try to dictate a lot, if that makes sense. Like, the younger levels of girls fast pitch, or even the lower levels of men's fast pitch, you can do a lot of other things. You know what I mean? Because you can almost guarantee that the ball's going to be put in play, or the ball, you know what I mean? The ball's going to be on the ground. And so there's a lot of things you can do. So,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, at a men's high level, it's very much like power and speed, you know? So,
That's honestly, that's just men for you. We like the power. We like
yeah,
the speed. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. We don't like to think, is what it
that's
is.
right. Well, that was, the first difference that you pointed out there. That was one of the first things that Lily kind of enlightened me about was pitchers' hairstyles, and I
Mm,
was like, "What? Pitchers' hairstyles?" And then I've learned about the bubbles and all this different.
mhm.
I mean, I'm learning. She's educating me. So,
Yeah.
all right,
I'll say
man.
the one
Well,
thing that oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say the one thing that is cool about the girls' fast pitch, the women's side of the fast pitch, is how like they get to integrate certain feminine things like style and fashion that you guys do in your game, which I think is super cool. Like you get to, be pretty about it, and you guys do a really good job at it. Like some of the makeup you guys come out on the field with, and how you do your eye black, and like you guys really do get to have a lot more individual fun put into your
Yeah,
game.
you
So
get to
I
add
think
a
that's
lot more
cool.
personality to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm So
Well, that's cool. Well, I love women's softball. I'd love to catch a men's fast pitch game tournament or something in the future because that would be. You know what? I got in the batter's box with a D1 softball pitcher, and she
mhm.
wore me out.
Yeah.
Because I could not even come close to the rise ball. Like that pitch didn't even make any sense to me. But I see somebody running at me and then like sling that ball. You might see me running towards the dugout. So
Yeah.
it's definitely different. So, well, look,
Yep.
Jason, I don't want to keep you all day, but we got one last question that we ask
Yep.
everybody on the show, man. And I
hmm
know Lily is bursting to ask this question. So, Lily, I'm going to let you do it. It is now the time.
I'm nervous.
What is your favorite walk up song?
Oh God, that's hard. Because it's hard because sometimes I think your walk-up song has got to like create the vibe for the moment,
Yep.
right? And so I think one of the most important things for an athlete to believe is that they are the best, right? Whether it's true or not, like you just have to have this mindset that
That's
I
right.
am I am the best um at what I'm about to do, right? And so if I were to try to pick a song that I would say like said that to me as I walked up, and it's not even words. I think it's Hell's Bells. Um, you know,
ACDC, baby.
yeah, and I think because that just gives the feeling of yeah, yeah, there's nobody better than me right now, you know.
That's
So
it,
I would
man.
have I would have to go with that song there
I
as a walk-up song.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think your walk-up song should set the tone for what's
Right.
about to happen. Like
hmm
hearing them bells start ringing, I'm getting
Yeah.
cold chills right now. I see
Yeah.
now.
Right.
You and I are in the same age range, so
Yeah.
we can relate to some music together here.
Yeah.
Most of our guests on the show, they're like, "What are you talking about?" But man,
Right.
that's a classic right there. So,
hmm
Lily, have you ever heard that song? Hell's Bells. All right. I hope your dad has, and if he hasn't, he needs to call me. He needs to get schooled really quickly. But you need to go turn that on the next time you go work in you're in your garage working. Just
Yeah.
just
Oh, wait.
just
Oh
I
turn it
have
on.
yeah.
one
You're
more
gonna.
question.
Okay. What's that?
What makes Powerhouse Mechanics different than the rest?
Okay. One, I'll say this. I think that in Powerhouse Mechanics is just we have a different philosophy of or a different way of thinking about what we're doing. We don't really change much about what we do. I think we're changing the way we think about it. And so what we try to do is simplify the thought process versus thinking about all these different steps and all these different movements and all these different sequencings and all these different movement patterns, right? We just feel like we just teach you how to, you know, not think but feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference. So
Yep. I can see that. Go ahead,
yeah.
Lily. What were you going to say? Oh, I thought you were about to say something.
No,
I put you on
I
the
have a
spot.
question. I have a question for you though, Lily, if you don't mind me. So why do you like Powerhouse Mechanics?
I don't know.
Right?
All the drills,
Mm-hmm.
all of the motions, and
Yeah.
how it helps you. For everyone else that like coaches out there, they're all like good except at Powerhouse Mechanics, they just coach you the best because they're just like they go through every step. They don't go through like every step all fast. They like repeat it and repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the way
Yeah.
how they do that.
Yeah.
Repetition.
You got to build. We always say that. You got to build, not fix.
Yeah.
So,
I like
mhm.
that. Build, not fix. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff, man. Well, look, man, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your travel to spend a little bit of time with us, and I know we appreciate it, and I think our listeners are going to appreciate it as well. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Continue to share. We need more and more viewers and followers. We want to reach more and more kids. So if you know some kids out there that should be on the show, make sure to reach out to us. Let's get them scheduled, and let's continue to celebrate youth athletes. And Lily, I think it's your time.
Jason, until then.
We'll catch you on the slide.